Welcome to Tony Shaffer's S Files live stream. I'm Chris Cordani, the producer, filling in for the Tone Man, and I do have with me so far Maureen Ennor. She's the host of the Red, White, and Blonde podcast. Maureen, tell us more about yourself and your podcast, and of course, I'm going to check in with Tony. He'll be in here very soon as well.
Well, hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be back with you. My name is Maureen Ennor. I am a lifelong conservative, originally from California. Yes, there are conservatives in California, and I am no longer in California. I'm now in Texas. I'm also the widow of Deputy Oscar Rocha. My husband died in the line of duty in July of 2020 from COVID-19. And I'm in a pretty nasty battle with the county and trying to fight for my widow's benefits. That's one of my causes. And I'm a conservative. I've been in media since about 2008 when Obama got elected and decided I needed a voice. And here I am.
Yeah, that was the start of a very rough era. Mind you, a lot of people talk about, Donald Trump, he invaded Venezuela. He took their oil refineries. No, they took them from us. People don't realize that. This is why history needs to be taught. This is why the left refuses to teach history in the public schools. But it's our stuff, basically. What Chavez did, and what Chavez did was nationalize the American refineries, American facilities to dig up oil. And Barack Obama and his administration decided, well, let's deal with social causes and let the other communists run rampant.
Right. You know, this past Thanksgiving, I was with friends for a Thanksgiving dinner, and a couple had a young daughter. She was maybe 12 or 13, and she had no idea why we celebrate Thanksgiving. No idea. And she was 12, maybe 13 years old. So we're not teaching that in school. And isn't Thanksgiving what we celebrate for the original reason why people left Great Britain or the English Empire? Because we wanted no king. They're not even teaching these kids what Thanksgiving is and why we celebrate it.
That was my other issue. Last weekend, the pots and pans parades were out there. The most annoying people in the country decided to all unite and screech for attention and try to exonerate the greatest band that was, the second greatest band ever. The first, of course, is Dexy's Midnight Runners, now known as Dexys. But King, I cannot believe these people would go all out 3 or 4 times to protest against King, one of the greatest bands, the best band out of Coventry, by the way, had 2 of the greatest albums of all time, short-lived band, Steps in Time, and of course, I'm going to plug them a little more here. Let's go with Bittersweet, which is a vastly underrated album. And Paul King had the coolest voice, the coolest hair, and the coolest suits. They're just one behind Dexy's Midnight Runners, and I cannot believe these idiots were protesting that.
How do you protest no king when our president doesn't even take a salary? He donates that every quarter. Explain that to me.
Perhaps this should tip you off. A picture of a typical protester right here, talking about how much smarter she is and her dog is, and all the No Kings protesters are than Donald Trump. Wait a minute, then Donald Trump?
She must have gone to the same school that doesn't teach anything about the first Thanksgiving.
Maybe they know about Slapsgiving, but that's another story for another day. And it was a terrible TV show, no matter what. By the way, join us on the live stream today. I want to know what you all thought of the mass tantrum, which, by the way, likely was not as big, and it's going to keep getting smaller and smaller. There were a lot of people masked up, and those who kind of hid in the closet because they were afraid of the new, the new strain of COVID coming out. I guess they were afraid of catching another cough. I don't know, but that's what they were. But join us on the live stream, and if you really enjoy us, share the stream on your social media, whether you're on X, whether you're on YouTube, or whether you're on Facebook Live. We're having a lot of fun. Maureen's with me. Tony Shaffer will be here in just a moment. And by the way, my dog is smarter than people who make these silly signs, right?
I've seen so many and I've seen so much, and the one thing that really rings true is none of these people can articulate an honest conversation with anyone on the right. They absolutely will not engage. If they do, it's hateful, it's nasty. They have no argument. I saw one person that was interviewed, and he literally did not know what a conservative was. The reporter asked him, what do you feel about the conservatives? And he said, well, he had no idea what a conservative was, but he was protesting a No Kings rally. I have lost your audio. I'm not able to hear you. I can't hear. I am losing your audio. I can't hear you.
Ain't no king, ain't no king in the USA. We're rising up. He ain't no fool, no matter what he says. He said he's there. He won't say no.
How did I mute him?
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
It's weird. Okay.
Sorry about that.
I'm gonna have to cut that off in the rebroadcast, but that's what happened. All right. Well, here we go. All right. There we go. So Chris back here with sitting in for Tony Shaffer. That was weird. And the funny thing is I just had cable service taken care of. So that's just interesting. Anyway, back to the drum. This is bad line dancing, Maureen.
That's just bad dancing. I don't even think I would call that dancing. That's an insult to people who really dance.
Oh, try this. And what is their fascination with this Handmaid's Tale?
Ladies. Fabulous.
They just are so clueless about, I am not a feminist. I do not support the women's movement. I didn't support any of that. I don't support this. We are women. We have every right. We have more rights here in this country than anywhere else in the world. And these old arguments they use, these scare tactics to get at these young people who are not educated. We are not educating our children and our young adults well enough to understand the Constitution, what we do here, the rights we have. And this is just performative Hollywood movies. It's ridiculous.
Now, Barbara, you're right. You're way too liberated to be a feminist too. But the funny thing is, here's the deal. These people, from what I understand of this Handmaid's Tale, it's an old story. Well, I guess relatively. Netflix, I guess it was Netflix, one of the streaming services put it on, and every liberal woman tried to equate that with the society under Donald Trump. Under such societies, they wouldn't be allowed to march like this. That's number one. Under such societies, they would be owned by a man already because I believe their names were changed to of and the husband after they were trained. they're also supporting generally when they go out there, they support these Islamo-fascist regimes who actually do similar things to the women. So
Mhm.
who are they marching for? Why are they marching? And who are they supporting? And I want to get into who they're actually supporting when they're marching, Maureen.
Well, they're not supporting me, that's for sure. And they're not supporting conservative women like myself. And it's such an old argument of women. The real suffering in this country is men. Men have a higher alcoholism rate, higher suicide rate, higher job loss rate, much more struggles than women. And nobody talks about that. And I am 62 years old, and my entire adult life I've been told I'm not going to have any rights if this happens or that happens. I have had plenty of rights. I worked on Wall Street. I worked on a hedge fund desk. Those men treat me better than most women I have ever worked with. I would rather work for a man as a boss than any female manager I've ever had. It is like it's a sickness that they're selling to these women.
Well, I suppose those alcoholic men are married to or had to deal with these drunk white liberal women. I suppose that's what happened. I can understand the alcoholism there. I can
You would drink too, right? If
right,
you're
the pressure there. That's right. To make them bearable, I would probably drink a little more. That's the way it works. But these people don't have zero idea who they're marching for. I want to get into that.
And they don't know what they're marching for either. They do not know what they are marching for. It's a fear mongering that we are going to lose rights.
Right. And not only that, I would say take a closer look. When your liberal friend pats themselves on the back over, oh, look at me, I went to No Kings. I went to protest the mean fascist. I went to protest authoritarian dictatorships. They're not. They actually went to support authoritarian dictatorships. And I always say the truth, Maureen, is in the flags, is in the symbolism represented at each of these parades. And the dominant parade is always the New York City parade, generally the LA and Chicago or London. And this is what you saw. This is what you saw marching. Communists.
Full flag.
Right, chanting about how communism is the way to go. Look at these people. They haven't showered in 2 weeks.
There is only one solution. There is only one solution. Communist revolution. Yeah, communism is gonna win, baby.
Look at them. Fools for Lenin. Fools for Stalin.
They just buy them free lunch and they're out there. Did they all get hot dogs? All American lunch, and now they're out there doing this. I mean, they're obviously, this is not a grassroots protest. We know that. They didn't just make some signs in the garage and find some sickle flags laying around. These are well-funded, and these people probably have no idea what they're talking about. I would imagine 99% of them don't have any idea. It's not even following along. It's just a sick.
Barbara.
I mean, I grew up in San Francisco in the late 60s and the early 70s. And I remember the Vietnam, all the protests and the hippies. My parents were always the hippies. And when people ask me, and they do quite often, they ask me, where did California, what happened in California? And I always say I went back to the 60s. It's from the 60s. And this is just an extension of the same people who are now probably in their 80s, still fighting everything that is right in this country. They're still just so sure that life will be better somewhere else or a different government. And it's been proven over and over, it doesn't work. Look at Cuba. That's 90 miles off the coast of Miami. Look at what is happening.
That's right. And Maureen, let's get into the question. Who is actually backing this? Who are they funding? And let me tell you, your liberal friends who are patting themselves on the back, tell them all who they're supporting and who they're marching for. We all know that George Soros is a big funder of these events. But your liberal friend, your liberal acquaintance will tell you, George Soros is a boogeyman that you conservatives created. Yeah, 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 yeah. We have to fight the Nazis. Knowing, of course, that the George Soros, worked with the Nazis.
Was a Nazi.
And he made his bones, he made his riches shorting currencies from third world nations. The very third world nations they say Trump is racist against, they're supporting somebody who actually made money off of such racist moves. So these are the people who are protesting against Donald Trump during the No Kings rallies. These are people who are protesting with communists. They are being funded by George Soros, but they're also being funded by a member and sympathizer, and of course, let's just put it this way, all-around influencer for the Chinese Communist Party, a man named Neville Roy Singham. You
Yes,
know who he is.
Neville. Oh,
That's
yes.
right. He is not as cool as Aaron Neville. I'll tell you that. That's right. Hey, cousin Vinny. And he definitely can't sing, but he attends and funds Chinese Communist Party conferences around the world. He wrote a recent report a little while back. I believe it was October or November of 2025, about the celebration of what he calls, and a lot of these communists call, the end of World War II. They call World War II the anti-fascist war. If you think about it, it was an anti-socialist and authoritarian war.
Mm-hmm.
And his report states that the real heroes of the war were China and the Soviet Union. I'm going to poke a few holes in there. We all know that was the Soviet Union, but this is from Neville Roy Singer. This is an actual report from him.
Mm-hmm.
He clutched this at a recent. He was clutching this at a recent Chinese Communist Party meeting as well this year. But he says, let's go with the Soviet Union hole first.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was the alliance between the U.S. and Stalin, an unsteady one, of course, that brought this together. That helped. That became a catalyst to ending the war. The fact is, though, it was Hitler's terrible decision or terrible tactical decisions during the winter to push into certain parts of the Soviet Union. The winter, the cold beat them. I guess he never read history when it came to Napoleon. So it was right there.
History. They don't believe in history. They write their own history and they create their own story.
Secondly, Joseph Stalin was the very person that Americans today should be and would be, real Americans, by the way, fighting against. The fascist who takes religious people, who takes any dissident, who takes anybody who speaks up, finds them, incarcerates them, and generally either works them to death in a camp or kills them.
And
he was worse. He was worse on Jewish people. He was worse on Muslims and Christians than any dictator of that era.
And we don't have a king. We don't have a leader. We don't have a president doing that. But we have the alt-left going in and disturbing a church service in Minneapolis because they thought there was an ICE agent who was the pastor. So they are the ones doing that. We, Americans, are not doing that.
Another hole in this is the man is giving China the credit as well. China was pretty much the victim in World War II. I hate to put it this way, they were the victim. That's number one. Number two, the Chinese people, the insurgents, those who fought back against the Japanese, they were sure as heck not communists. Okay?
No,
I'm positive. Okay, I can't prove all of that, but he can't prove they were. I'm going to tell you, the communists would be holding signs and waiting to get funded or writing them with magic marker and misspelling things. That's what they would do. That's what they do here.
Right.
They march and they yell and they scream, but that's it.
Yeah.
The Chinese, the insurgents, those were the poor, the townspeople. Those were the people who had some skills. Those are the people who stood up. These people don't stand up. They stand up in numbers to shout and scream and bang on pots and pans and to shout and by the way, the communist revolution started later, after World War II.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Maoism that beat the Japanese. First off, again, it was the Allies and the Americans. And yes, Chinese insurgency, not Chinese communist insurgency. Chinese communist insurgency defeated the people who defeated or helped defeat the Japanese imperialists.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this guy's a history revisionist, a liar, and a card-carrying communist who is trying to help the globalists offer power secession to China and themselves. These are an oligarchy.
Well, and he did the same, Neville, he did the same thing in the anti-ice raids in Minneapolis, the protesting. Right. He was behind that as well. So when does the DOJ give him a knock at the door?
Yes, and by the way, Sammy, there are other channels, so nice try. We're on a bunch of channels. Cute, though. Yeah, I get you. Grab your flag. Grab your commie flag and just run around. I'm sorry. Get your pots and pans. Enjoy it. The fact is, these people are a potential and wannabe oligarchy. Your George Soros's, your Neville Roy Singers of the world, and his wife, by the way. You see Code Pink running around recently?
Yeah. Did you see them in Cuba?
Yeah. Well, the fact is, Code Pink was irrelevant for how many years?
Yeah, you hadn't heard about them since around Obama, I think. This is the last time I ever really heard about them.
They were screeching. Last I heard of them, it was during the Bush era, where they were telling everybody else they were cultists while standing around in matching shirts and hats, chanting the same thing in unison.
Well, and isn't the leader, the female, the lady that went down to Cuba, isn't she a billionaire? Married to a billionaire?
Yes.
That organized the.
She's married to Neville Roy Singer.
Is that his wife?
Yes, she's married to Neville.
The same one that was on the plane?
She's married to Neville. Neville Roy.
Wow, she looked good in the picture. She don't look like she did in the picture I saw. Wow.
Yeah, Jody, I always forget her last name. Jody something or other. She's the president, the leader of co-founder of Code Pink. She's married to Neville.
I did not realize that was her. She does not look the same in the pictures with her husband than she did on the plane.
Well, she's married to Neville Roy Singer.
Oh, well, thank you for letting me know. They didn't even look the same.
So now you know why Code Pink is suddenly relevant again, because they're very well funded. Another thing you don't know is Code Pink was also very much against Chinese imperialism and the Chinese Communist Party at the time. But now, for some reason, the broad did a 180 on China. I wonder what that could be, Maureen.
Nefarious there. Yeah, I mean, how do we allow I thought they were going to investigate this when they found out the connection between the Minneapolis ice raid protests. Probably were behind the ones in Portland too. Are they not going to be investigating any of this? Is this perfectly legal? Is this okay to have outside influence like this? You tell me. I don't know. I thought the DOJ was going to be investigating them.
Kidding. Pam Blondie hasn't been doing a lot of investigating. Again, she has done some good things. But all the things she has to do, all the people she has to investigate, and the team has to investigate, there are a couple of obstacles within that particular office. One of them is Todd Blanche. So you got to watch out for him as well. The other one is she's the figurehead. There are still people in mid-management that Trump hasn't really found a way to weed out. You can't weed out every one of the political or lawfare insurgents. And the Democrats are fighting the DOJ via lawfare, right and left. You also have the FBI trying to investigate the Fang Eric Swalwell. Well, Swalwell is trying to pull a cease and desist order. So here's what's going on. You try to investigate. The Democrats have been stopping or thwarting the investigations right and left. And that, of course, includes Epstein. The Epstein files. But I gave my theory on the Epstein files. The real damning stuff is coming out right before the midterms.
October surprise. Yeah.
Yes, October surprise. There'll be quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And just like Trump's executive order to end mail-in voting, he told the post office no sending mail-in ballots to people who aren't registered for them. Only absentee ballots, which, by the way, we already had. So anybody can get those. You want your mail-in ballots? You register for that stuff.
I just want to touch on the Swalwell thing, because I read this morning he sent a cease and desist for to the. What do you think the chances are of him having no say, and the FBI is perfectly able to release that? What do you think?
Between you and me, I strongly believe this is frivolous in a lot of ways, because we all know about Swalwell. We all know he's a fraud. We all know he divulged secrets to the Chinese spy. And we all know he's probably owned by China in one way, or the Chinese Communist Party in one way or another. He's running for governor of California. In theory, it should hurt his campaign if this information comes out. We are talking California.
Right. They're going to have
believe
sympathy for them.
California Democrats will double down and vote for Swalwell. And by the way, who else do they have to vote for? Katie Porter?
No, I've been being from California. I cover California very closely. I've had a lot of the big names on my show on Red, White, and Blonde. I see red coming to California, and I don't know. I don't know if Swalwell will survive this. I honestly don't. There's so much going on there that this just may not even faze anyone. There's so much going on in California with fraud and abuse and waste. And so I don't know. I look at it as we all may know. We would be happy to find out, but I don't think it's going to affect him because there's so many other things going on there.
Fair enough. Hey, how about if we go to some more of the bankrollers for the No Kings protest? Let's talk about who the No Kings protesters were partying for last week. Talked about Code Pink. Let's talk about International Answer. Brian Becker leads International Answer, another big bankroller behind the No Kings riots, No Kings, whatever you want to call them in the U.S. and of course in I guess the collective tantrums. There we go, the Tantrumfest in the Tantrumfest in Europe and across the U.S. International Answer is another one of those organizations born out of the Workers' World Party. The leader, Brian Becker, was a major figure for the Workers' World Party, the American Socialist Party, and the Communist Party USA.
Mm-hmm.
After the 2001 bombing and the invasions of Afghanistan and around the invasion of Iraq, International Answer was formed by Brian Becker as a peace or as one of those we want peace groups.
Mm-hmm.
Under the as an umbrella, or as, let's just say, a front for the Communist Party USA, for the Socialist Party USA, and of course for the Workers' World Party, which kind of dissolved and became, I guess, Socialists of America. I don't remember exactly what they became, but they're pretty much the same thing they used to be. So this is another big bankroll. And Brian Becker, by the way, interestingly enough, Brian Becker is also against keeping against NATO. He thinks NATO is useless. I can agree with him on that.
Agree with that.
But the people who are marching for him and for his Communist Party and his socialist causes are for NATO. They're for NATO because Trump said it was a paper tiger, because Trump said NATO is weak. So they're for NATO. Now they're marching for somebody who's against NATO.
You know, the bottom line is trying to find the why in all of this is most likely impossible. But very simple terms, the why is free stuff. And this is all they chant is free rent, free housing, free daycare, free medical, free. This has been happening for years. And these young people hear the word free and they don't hear anything else. And their ears perk up and they think, I don't have to work. I can get a free apartment. I can have daycare. I can have all these things. And that's their hook, is they are offering free things. Everything is going to be free and the government's going to pay for everything.
Well, that's what's behind socialism. Now, I want to also interject here and just say a lot of these young people, they're coming from a different world than a lot of us came from as well. I mean, we're Xers, I believe. So we started in that particular realm. A lot of these millennials and Gen Zers, a lot of them haven't or are finding it a much harder time to afford starting a family and afford buying homes. And the job situations out there are not great for some people. And a lot of them are being replaced by AI. This is not as easy as, and I know they make fun of the boomers, but the boomers did have it easy, or at least have it a little better in certain aspects. And when it came to cost, of course, that was a lot of that was way before 1971, when the irresponsible U.S. government allowed for the end of the gold standard and made our money political, turned it into a fiat currency. Yes. Well, that's the big one right there. Now, these kids are taking a 2 to 3 generation since burden from all of this, and they're finding it very difficult to afford anything. So some guy, handsome dude with a beard, and yes, a protected class comes on and says, hey, look at me. I'm going to give you free stuff, free buses. when everybody in the city damn well knows you can get free buses by just hopping on at the back right before they leave. I'm just kidding. I'm not advocating this. That's what they do.
I did that as a kid. We all did that. It's the oldest trick in the book when you live in a city.
That's right. But having said that, they're enticed by this free stuff because they don't realize that they have to pay for it. A lot of these kids haven't had their first paycheck yet, or a lot of them quit after working a whole 6-hour shift at Starbucks, realizing they have to be on their feet for all but a short break. They don't understand they were coddled. They weren't taught many things by the public education system. A lot of these kids had to take remedial courses if they went to college, and when they come out of college with a paper tiger degree like intersectional studies and interpretive dance, and I can't knock anybody who's good at dancing though. I don't want to do that. But if you think you're going to get a really good job coming out of there, unless you're that good of a dancer, not happening. Women's stuff. I knew a guy, and I love doing this joke. I knew a guy in school when I went to New Paltz back in the 90s who actually took women's studies as a major because he thought it would help him meet women.
Not those women. You don't want to meet those. That's not the one. Meet them in an econ class or finance or law school. Even law school can be a little tricky as far as the liberal.
Best place in college for me was the library.
Yeah, library used to be a good place, huh? It used to be a good place.
And you're never going to see a liberal woman there.
Maybe
That's
a bookstore. Right. Bookstore would probably be more of a liberal. Women would hang out in the bookstore.
Yeah, they hang out in the bookstore. A lot of liberal women, these lefties, they don't read the books. They buy them and put them on their shelves to show everybody else they have them and make them think they read them. That's case in point. Who really read Bill Clinton's 900 and some odd page biography, My Life, right? Was that what it was called, My Life?
We just skipped to the good parts.
Right. Well, that's true. Juanita Broderick told a more accurate story about him in her book. Well, that's another story for another day.
Well, and let's, just touch on Hillary Clinton for a moment and women's rights. She's had more rights, more careers, more choices, more everything. And she's still the one that's out there at almost 80 years old telling us that we are not going to have any rights under this current administration. If we keep voting Republican, we're not going to have any rights.
That's right.
When do they just get tired of the same old argument and look around and say, you know what? We've done a good job. Women in this country we've done a good job.
That's right. I want to get to a couple more of these people who were funding. There are a lot of them. There's a kind of whole network of communists funding these No Kings parades. But we went through Answer, Code Pink, Brett Becker, Singham, Soros. There's also the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And yet this is my favorite name for a socialist party. The Freedom Road Socialist Organization. Now that, my friends, is an oxymoron to beat oxymorons.
Freedom and socialism in one sentence or a title? No, I don't think so. I don't like the Socialists of America either. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Well, International Answer, I love the way these people, you have to give these other, the Freedom Road Socialist Organization, the Party for Socialism, at least a little credit. They tell you who they are. They're right up front about it. We are communists, they say. International Answer is actually one of those front groups for communists that sound nice, whereas I believe it was the something about ending war and racism or something. I forgot the exact acronym. I'll get that for you. I'll get to that.
Communists are not racist, right? Hitler wanted an all white civilization, right?
That's right. Let me get that for you. I'm going to have to post that up here. But you're right. If you're looking for the perfect communist socialist government, you're looking at Joseph Stalin. There you go. International Answer that's called the Act Now to Stop War and End Racism. It sounds nice, doesn't it? And I'm sure and this is another thing, a lot of people really don't do anything. This is where you get a lot of those who go to these protests. They don't do anything. They don't sacrifice anything. They just sit in their yards sipping Chardonnay. They feel they haven't contributed to any cause.
Well, being from California, I've been around a lot of white liberal women who all have very wealthy, lovely lifestyles, and they don't see beyond their own front gate. They don't take the effort to look. They just feel they're entitled, they feel guilty, they feel like they need to help. It's just so sad how these people are. I just feel really bad, but they absolutely understand no policy. They don't know what these every single elected official in California, they don't they believe the sound bites. It's just it's really sort of a mental it's a mental block. They just go so far and they just, and most of them, I just feel so bad. I just really feel bad.
Well, look, and International Answers co-founder Brian Becker is on record speaking for communist regimes like North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, and China. It's all a front group. And these people actually think, hey, Orange Man bad because he racist, because the media told us, are actually doing the bidding, and I'm getting here, are doing the bidding of people who sympathize with communist regimes around the world. And when I say communist regimes around the world, I include China and the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party, by the way, is known worldwide for its human rights abuses, which includes finding and targeting people for persecution so they can be imprisoned, drugged, and have their organs harvested. And these are people, the No Kings protesters, if you will, the mass tantrum throwers are marching for. You ask what they're for? They're for the people who are bankrolling them.
Exactly. And they don't even know what that is. That's the problem.
We're here to educate them. And I hope we changed a few minds.
These people are so lost in our society to just follow. And again, it's free stuff. They're probably getting a couple bucks to protest. They're probably getting lunch, whatever. And they just fall in line. And isn't that how communism took over?
Well, that's the thing. They will fall into communism because, again, they get their free stuff. That's number one. I get that. And I understand where young people are coming from with that because it is hard right now for them. And the Republicans and Democrats are both at fault.
Yes.
For allowing people like Mamdani to get into office, for allowing people like Bernie Sanders to come close to winning. And they complain about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is here because the Republicans, Democrats failed to do anything for the people that they're supposed to represent. And this is why Donald Trump comes in like a bull in a china shop saying, this has to go, this has to go, this has to go. That's why Javier Milei won in Argentina, because he took the chainsaw to the establishment and said, this has to go, this has to go, this has to go. Both countries are better for it. But the failings of the major parties and their interest only into keeping office and holding power over the people, over becoming good, even honorable statesmen at some point. That's it.
Look at the layers that Donald Trump has had to go through. It's layers and layers from his first term to now of the abuse and the fraud and the waste and the lawfare. And he told us all of this and we didn't believe it, I don't think. And now in his second term, where we are today, we're seeing so much more of everything that he said. Right.
And well, what happens is that the left knows they can just blatantly lie to their people.
Yeah.
And say, this is why because they're going to vote for him anyway. And not because some of them believe the lies, because that's what they want. We have to also say we cannot always underestimate the other side. Yes, there are a lot of them are morons. You saw that at the No Kings protest, but the people behind those morons, behind the useful idiots, they know they can manipulate the frontliners. They also know the people that are with them. They can just say things and they'll allow these so-called influencers or wherever else to help push the lie because, hey, they get the attention they want. Let's go to Barbara. Barbara says, my husband and I relocated from SoCal in 2004, hoping to escape the TDS feminazi females. They've laid eggs all over Tennessee. Oh, man, they did that in Dollyland? Adam Ant lives in Tennessee, by the way, too.
I heard Nashville is kind of the new California.
Did you see that little girl that was running in Nashville for Congress? And was it Congress or state Senate? I don't remember. She insults the city and thinks that's what's going to get her elected.
Yeah, they don't have the greatest mayor in Tennessee.
Yeah, let's put it this way. You can insult country music all you want as a city folk coming in. The fact is, even the Democrats there like their country music. Don't mess with it. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm talking real country. I'm not talking about the fake crossover country we hear. Oh, 2024.
Oh, 2024.
I do want to say there are some highlights that came out of this. I'm hoping, well, relative came out of the No Kings protest. And I believe some people may have gone home learning a lesson. There's an Iranian woman who was an Iranian refugee who was talking to some of these extremists. And one of these videos has gone viral. I'd like us to look at it, and I want to share it with our audience. If you haven't seen it yet, if you have, I'd like to know what you think of it.
She's right. Iranians are asking for the bombs.
By the way, that woman holding the sign is, in fact, a walking stereotype.
Oh, no, they are. I'm a journalist. I'm in contact with Iranian youth
Look at the idiot over there with a Palestinian cloth.
who are asking to be bombed. And you are standing here supporting a terrorist regime. What are you doing supporting a terrorist regime? Why are you supporting a terrorist regime? I understand bombing is bad. Convince me of what? Of women not having no rights? I'm Iranian. I've been imprisoned by that regime.
There you go.
This has got nothing to do with Palestine. This is about a terrorist regime in my country. I can't even go to see my father's grave. I left as a refugee. You should think about it.
This happened in Britain, by the way. And the Stop the War Coalition, another communist front group, by the way, in case you're wondering. But this is the Iranian people, many of them are saying, why are you people protesting for this regime that allows for the rape of women or the torture, the killing? This girl cannot go back, like she said, to see her father's grave because she will be disappeared rather fast.
You know, I saw an Iranian woman recently interviewed, and she said she lived in Iran in the 70s. And she said this all started on the college campuses. That's how the regime took over. And we need to pay attention to that.
That's right. And again, people, you should talk to people who are there. I understand, and I believe a lot of these people aren't very smart. They do believe that in this whole the bigger country bombed a smaller country thing.
Right.
They're trained to not like Israel for a lot of reasons, and Israel has its faults. We should not be doing the bidding of Israel. This dealing with the Strait of Hormuz and controlling maritime trade, making sure China does not control the Panama Canal, and make sure the Russians don't control the North Passage, Northern Passage. Well, this is important. This foreign policy out of the Trump administration goes beyond the surface. And I do believe these people are definitely first order thinkers, and they don't really understand what's going on.
They just don't care. They don't even want to know. They don't even care to learn. They don't. We should give her a one-way ticket to Tehran and let her go.
Right. And Deborah said she's old school country. And I'll tell you this, I'm old school country too. I've never been a big country guy, but you give me some Johnny Cash, you give me some Merle Haggard, Six Ritter. I even like the Singing Cowboys. Yeah.
Yes. George Jones.
Yep. Roseanne Cash.
Yes.
That's right. All the good stuff. That's real country. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty. I liked him.
Well, George Strait lives up the street from me, so I'm in good country territory here.
That's good. Well, at least, and Dolly's still cool country, like her.
Yeah, and George Strait actually goes to the local Dairy Queen here in my town.
Oh, well, that's good. Did you ever have an ice cream with him or a blizzard or something like that?
I've never been able to catch him there, but they have video of him in there. He goes to the drive-through like a regular guy.
You know, that's funny because I actually saw Elvis in a Burger King.
When he was alive?
No, I'm just kidding. That was the whole thing. He was always after he died, he was always spotted in Burger Kings. But we did see a stupid video from Hanoi Jane and Bruce Springsteen, who always have to throw their 2 cents in. That's another thing. These two, Hanoi Jane knowingly has been supporting communists for a very long time.
Again, she's old. She's these old Hollywood stars, De Niro. De
Niro hates Trump. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're just done with them. You've had your day. You were good in the day. You're wearing diapers now. We don't want to talk about it. We don't even want to see you.
I'm okay with older people. I'm cool with that. I mean, we have an older president. What I'm saying is Jane Fonda is a known communist, has been supporting communists for a very long time.
Right, and we're tired of it. It's old. Your message is old. You're old. You've been saying the
Well,
same thing. We're done.
apparently they're electing people like her. The young people are electing people like Jane Fonda. The thing is, when Jane Fonda puts her name behind something, she is basically coming from that level, that communist party, that communist sympathizing level. So when you are on the side of Jane Fonda, generally you're on the side of, well, the bad guys, if you will.
Did you ever see her on Bill Maher? And he asked her a bunch of questions about what the left was doing, and she was absolutely clueless. She had no idea. And he said to her, "You're in a bubble. You're in the bubble. This is why there's a problem." And he called her out on it. He was absolutely right.
I'm with you. Oh, with Chet Atkins, that's right. we're doing this and country music. And as far as Bruce Springsteen's concerned, I think he knows how to keep his money rolling in.
Yeah, but I hear his concert sales are nobody's buying his tickets. They were what, $3,000 a ticket?
Well, people are
For
still
his
going to
summer
see him.
tour? No, sales. He's not selling out.
Hey, I know Jane may be 88 years old, but I still listen to my 70s rock and my 60s rock. So a lot of them have passed on. They're older. They're still relevant to me.
Jane Fonda was beautiful. She was beautiful. And
Right.
she did some great movies. She did some great. On Golden Pond will forever be my favorite movie.
Right.
But
Look, a lot of my favorite artists have done some horrible things. And I try
yeah,
to separate one from the other. I mean, I know people are going to be very upset at me, but I'm a big fan of Gary Glitter's music. But he had his issues with teenage or underage girls, and it was terrible. And he's in jail he's serving time. He was in jail in Thailand for the same thing. But the music lives on. I mean, he influenced a lot of people. I don't like Robert De Niro just yammers on because he hates Donald Trump. I don't know. He's a whiny liberal. And again, but his work, a lot of it was pretty darn good.
yeah, you can't deny that. No, we can't deny that.
Right.
But I don't know, like how many young kids know who Jane Fonda is? Do they really know who she is or what she is? I mean, I don't know. I don't see her relevance with
Remember,
young people.
well, she's as relevant as Bernie Sanders might be with them. Because again, you spew the free stuff, you spew the communist jargon,
The
you're
hatred.
in, and
Yeah.
you will go viral. You will go viral.
Yeah.
Oh, Mozart. Okay. I'm a Vivaldi guy. Mendelssohn is pretty cool.
He's older than Fonda.
Or is Radar set on MASH? This is Barbara. She's a Mozart listener. Is Radar set on MASH? Ah, Bach. Remember that episode where Radar is trying to impress the smart woman that liked him? It was a MASH episode.
I don't know if I remember it.
When I was I guess by the time I was 13 or 14, I've seen every episode.
One
I
of
know-
the
And again, that's another one though. It's an anti-war propaganda show in a lot of ways, but it's still funny. In my opinion, it's still funny.
It was done
Right.
very well. The show was done very well. But one of the guys from MASH, one of the actors is probably well in his 80s too. He was leading a protest this weekend, and it's like, where are they finding these people? MASH was barely my generation. These people are still coming out of the woodwork to spew their hate for a free country.
Yes, they are. And by the way, Blake is better than Potter, no matter what anybody says. I dare you all to challenge me on that one. But I like that. By the way, I'll bet you all didn't know out there in the chat that I'm a classical guy, but I also play the baritone. And I was very good I still play, but I was very good when I was younger. And I was in marching bands. I was in classical bands and wind ensembles and things like that, of jazz bands. But you never get famous playing the baritone. But it was my best instrument.
When are we gonna? We're never gonna see this rooting against America. They rooted against the American hockey team. They wanted Canada to win. They're rooting for the mullahs. They're rooting for every single thing except America.
That's right. Exactly what they're doing. And again, they're the way these people or their influences kind of have come out. Their influence is kind of working in a lot of ways, but also it's repelling a lot of people too.
The Republicans are saying that this No Kings rally was one of the best things for them, which I agree. It's going to be great optics for.
Well, think about it. I think I have the Fox News montage Did you see that Jesse? I think it was Jesse Waters, the Fox News montage on these people.
Yeah. Was that Johnny doing it? Johnny was out on the street.
Yeah, out in the street there. He's the stuttering John of his era. Remember Stuttering John used to go out there in all these places and ask these questions and make people look silly?
Yes.
This guy doesn't. But the thing is funny. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. The thing is, it's funny because you don't have to make them look foolish or ask them stupid questions. They're just doing it all by themselves. So let's watch this because I did enjoy this. And for those who didn't see it yet, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's see if I can.
King's Day. No freaking kings.
No kings in the USA.
No King's Day. Woo!
Oh, that was one of my kids.
What are we gonna do to the king?
It's awful.
Shut him down.
How are we gonna shut him down?
Impeachment.
If there's impeachment, that means there's a Congress and Donald Trump can't be a king.
Right.
It just broke her
Right.
brain.
Why is Donald Trump a king?
Because he's nuts.
He smells funny.
For real? Is that a question?
Because he has repeatedly overused.
What the hell is that? This is what happens. This is what would happen if Harry Sishin gorged on 65 hot dogs a day. I think he does gorge on at least a few.
He's trying to abuse this world and try to make this place all about him.
Why are you asking me this?
And the funny thing is, that guy, that furry guy, whatever, with cat ears, he wants to make the place about him. A lot of these people out there are upset because they can't act like cats at work. Okay, they can't flaunt their pansexuality on the job anymore. That's more making things about them rather than saying, "Hey, other people live in this world too." I mean, come on.
You know the answer.
What's the answer?
You know it.
What is it?
You know the answer.
She doesn't know the answer.
So many people showed up.
Imagine if they showed up like this for Kamala.
People showed up for Kamala.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
What is one action that Donald Trump took that is impossible to do under the Constitution, but he did it anyway?
This ought to be good.
I can't name specific laws. I'm sorry. I lost a lot of thought on that.
You're a reporter. So why don't you do your homework? Don't ask me.
Went to war.
Legally, he could do that.
Okay, that must be Rose DeLauro's twin sister.
You can?
No. Putting ice in our cities.
Legally, he could put ice in cities.
I don't really give about legally. Rename the Kennedy Center.
Which amendment under the Constitution is he prohibited to renaming the Kennedy Center?
I think you get the gist of what happened here. It's absolutely hilarious. These people make a joke out of themselves, and I believe they're the best reason that they have no life.
Truth is stranger than fiction, and this is truth. I mean, you can't write this. Hollywood can't write this. This is just so good.
You can't make some of this stuff up. And a lot of other things I wanted to talk about with Tony, and I guess he still got stuck in traffic or something like that. And it was kind of hoping he'd be here because there's a lot to discuss. But I want to get maybe some of your thoughts on this. And we did touch on the executive order that Trump put out. Nope. It's funny. The Democrats are going to try to fight this, but as the chief executive officer, if you will, of the United States of America, and the idea is the post office falls under the executive branch. He's the boss. He can tell the post office not to send mail-in ballots to people who didn't register for them, people who don't have absentee ballots. So I believe he won that one no matter what happens with lawfare.
Yep.
And the timing is perfect. I'm giving you this right now.
You can't tell me he didn't start planning this in 2020 or 2021.
Well, this is why I believe the worst of the Epstein files for the Democrats is going to come out in October. This is perfectly timed for October.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is they're going to put this executive order out. There's going to be some federal judge trying to block it, some Obama or Biden appointee, trying to block it, and then it gets fought, or there's some kind of the lawfare happens. It's realized that there is no way anybody can put an injunction on this because it's an executive order, and it's basically the boss saying, "No, you have to wear your uniforms."
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it is. And by the time October rolls around, and there's no more mail-in ballots.
Yeah, and we have election day, not election month, not election week. It's called election day.
Right.
And
And that's another thing. It's election day. Get up out and do it. And the fact is, you are allowed, if you're not going to be home, you're allowed to use absentee ballots. People overseas do it all the time. Military people do it
they're
all
going to
the
be
time.
controlled. But I understood that really everything that's already available in the absentee process, like if you're out, you are able to use these, but you're not going to be able to vote days after. They need all of the ballots in by the day that they have said. You're not going to have 2 weeks to count absentees. And the fraud. I mean, have you seen what's going on in California? They're paying homeless people cigarettes and money to sign petitions and to register to vote, and they're using names, stolen identity. And these reporters are going and finding these people and saying, do you know that we found your name on Skid Row? It was used 15 times for this ballot. And this is on camera and this is happening. It's insane.
And another thing before we close out, Zoran Memdani is trying desperately to squeeze every nickel out of New York City residents and commuters, the best he can, and even New York State residents. So his newest plan is to instill a potential 20-mile-per-hour speed limit throughout the city, causing more gridlock.
Yeah.
Probably trying to
lights too. He's going to have it dark at 11 p.m. in all of New York.
Well, that's silly, but all of this is silly. But the fact is, the idea is you go 21, 22 miles per hour in a state where now you get points for this, and the penalties are higher. Remember, the state Democrats have imposed several penalties. This is not an April Fool's Day joke, by the way.
Yeah.
But they've imposed several new penalties on driving, harsher penalties on speeding, anything else. You take more points off for a lot of these offenses that may have been just kind of a slap on the wrist and go in the past. Now, the idea is you go 22, 23 miles an hour in New York City, 21. If the speed limit's 20, you're going to get dinged.
And
you're going to get points.
End goal here? Is it to raise revenue? Is it
to steal money? Yes, to raise revenue by stealing money and bilking the taxpayers, bilking the working people. Right.
Because the people that drive and go to work every day are the responsible ones who will pay their tickets. The other ones,
they're the responsible ones who would go the speed limit. But it's going to be harder to go the speed limit, Maureen, when it's 20.
Yeah.
Think about that. You can't get from here to there. Forget the self-imposed gridlock. That's another thing they're trying to pull. They're trying to take more. There are people within that administration trying to take more cars off more of the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And cause more gridlock, and perhaps try to force the idea of more congestion pricing. And the congestion pricing is not going away. The driver's tax to New York to Manhattan, where you go across 60th Street going downward, you have to pay $9 now. A couple more years, it's $11.50. A few more years after that, I believe it's 2031. The idea is $15 a pop going down there.
I thought Duffy, Transportation Secretary Duffy, was going to resolve that because it's the freedom of movement. We have freedom of movement, and I guess that went nowhere.
He has swung and missed it several times, despite the fact the Biden administration did not waived any environmental studies concerning congestion or concerning that driver's tax in New York City. So every other city's watching. Chicago's watching. Well, LA is watching. Every liberal city is watching and waiting for the next Democrat president administration to take over so they can have any kind of environmental review waived and find a way to bilk commuters for driving to work. So let's say you're an EMT or a teacher, lives in Upper Manhattan, lives in Westchester County, lives in New Jersey, lives in Orange County. You live in Orange County, you're already paying to go across the George Washington Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pay. That's a pretty penny. Then you're gonna have to pay again, and that's another $9 and $15 plus the way the bridges go. You're talking about another $33 to $35 a day potentially in 2031 for teachers, for police officers, for firemen,
assistants, clerical work, people that work in the banks, all of the
people who don't make all sorts of money.
Well, they're just going to be gone. They're all just going to leave. It's already happening. What are we going to do with this? Let it fail? Hochul has got to be voted out. She's got to be replaced.
Well, that's another thing. And we're going into slight overtime here, Maureen. But New York, the Democrats in the I guess the election committee in New York. I pulled this up, but Bruce Blakeman is supposedly the front runner against or the front running Republican against Kathy Hochul. He's the one getting all the backing when Stefanik stepped down.
Yeah, and he's making a move. I mean, the numbers are.
Okay, well, I got Blakeman denied funding. I believe that I saw this in the Times today. I want to get a little more on the story here, but the New York State Democrats who give each gubernatorial candidate public funds to help with their campaigns blocked him.
Oh,
right. So he does not get public financing, the $7 million that other candidates or a normal candidate would get. And the reason why? Because he would be running against the Queen. Kathy Hochul.
Well,
These
good
are
luck.
evil people.
Her campaign is going to consist of begging people to come back to New York who already left.
Well, look what she did last time. She lied to New Yorkers by saying there will be no congestion pricing.
Yep.
Then after the election, bang, right there.
Well, this is what people have to live through, the pain when they want communism.
Right. Maureen, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for being here. Well, we have to get you on when Tony is going to be here. I was hoping you guys could meet today.
I would love to come back. I love you guys. I would love to be back.
Yeah, so we're going to do this. We're going to have Tony on. We're going to have all you guys together. And thank you all for being with us here in the chat. We're going to do more of this. Yeah, that's right. Queen Hochul, no queens.
No queens.
Well, we saw a lot of queens at the No Kings parade, right?
Oh my God.
All right. I need a rim shot. That's what I need.
Most unattractive group of people ever.
That's right. But I will say this once again: King will always be here.
I agree.
That's right. Say yes to King. When you get a chance, check out the album Steps in Time, one of the greatest albums ever made. This is Bittersweet. It was their second album. Very good album. Classy. But all you're listening, check out King. Look him up. Look him up on look up King the band on YouTube. How about that? That would be pretty cool. All right. That's my cool musical advice for the day. Enjoy. Maureen, host of Red, White, and Blonde podcast. Where can our viewers, listeners get a hold of you and watch your podcast?
You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook under Maureen Ennor. I'm on YouTube under Maureen Ennor, Red, White, and Blonde. All my episodes are there. And it's growing fast, and I'm really excited, and I really love what I do. And thank you for your time and what you do.
Thank you very much, Maureen. Thank you all for being with us. This is Tony Shaffer's S Files Live. I'm Chris Cordani, the producer. Thanking you all for being here with us once again.